All right, welcome. If you're launching a book soon and you're following a playbook from any year other than 2025, you might be in trouble because the way readers discover and consume and buy books has changed so much lately. And today we're going to dive into specifically audiobook, Amazon, and AI stuff. So we're going to do the three A's as we talk about a variety of things that have changed this year to set you up for success if you're launching later this year or into 2026. So as you arrive, do say hello. And of course, if you're watching the replay, you can play along as though you're live and comment and participate as well. All right, so let's just dive right into this topic right now. Spotify just reported a 35% jump in audiobook listening hours, and that was in the US, UK, and I believe Australia. Their English audiobook catalog has 400,000 titles, and it's growing weekly. That number is probably old now because I think Angela's got the article that this came from in Publishers Weekly. She could drop that in the links, and if you're watching after, we'll put it in the description. But that is a lot of audiobooks that are coming on. And Amazon, of course, has rewired their algorithm. People are calling it the A10 update. We've talked about it many times, but we are really seeing the impact it's having on book launches and beyond. And in particular, any sort of old marketing strategy that focused on ads only, ads and keywords, ads, keywords, and categories even, that is not creating the kind of results and lift in the Amazon algorithm, the algorithm that it used to. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that today and really dive into the fact that it's about external traffic, your platform strength, and ultimately, I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that they're trying to emphasize the humanity in books and in the whole algorithm. So it's kind of funny because a lot of this is driven by, I think, AI underneath, and yet it is rewarding people who have more human built businesses. And of course, that leads me to the AI changes. And I think that, we've talked about it a lot. And I know some people in the author space are still resisting using it, but I do believe that understanding it and utilizing it where it makes sense for you is more important than ever. And that importance is just going to be increasing because we're already starting to see a divide with authors that are using it and leveraging it, for efficiency, cost reduction. They're starting to spread apart from those who are refusing to use it. And it makes sense because it is a tool that you can use to do a lot of things more efficiently, cost effectively, which means you'll have more energy and resources for other things versus the author that is still doing everything on their own or in the old way. All right. And speaking of kind of future and AI and connecting dots, I do want to mention that I am launching a second edition of Self-Publish and Succeed. The launch is on November 13th. And to celebrate, we are having a 3-day summit. And you can get your ticket to that summit by going to selfpublishandsucceed.com, purchasing a second edition copy of the book. And that will also get you a ticket to the summit as well as the replays to the summit. So if you can't make every day or can't make any of the days, you can still watch the replays. Of course, being live means you'll be eligible for hot seats, you'll be eligible for prizes, and you'll be the first ones to hear some of the cool announcements that we are going to make on the summit. But ultimately, all of that is to celebrate the second edition, which is coming out because a lot of these things have changed and we needed to update the book because the book has been out for 4 years. When did it come out? 2021. Yeah, it's been out for over 4 years, 4.5 years. So a lot has changed since that book was written. So it's a pretty rigorous update as far as talking about all the things that we're kind of talking about today. All right, let's see who's here and say hello. So we do have Stella and Bill are in the house. That's great. And T.A. Thompson also here. Hello. Ancient Egypt and the Bible is also in the house. Hello and welcome. And 123 Link, love it. Jordan's 7411. And we have someone else from Jacksonville. We've got 2 Jacksonvilles in the house so far. I love music, and Antoine's here. Oh, that's Antoine. Awesome. Great to have you here. All right. So yeah, keep talking, keep saying hello. Angela is here. She's in the background. I will not unmute her. She is struggling with being at the top of her health game at the moment, and her voice does not sound good. So we'll keep her behind the scenes today, but she is there, so she will be helping with questions and prizes as necessary. So if you do have something, she'll be starring your question, so I can find it at the end as usual. All right. So let's talk audiobooks. So as I mentioned, there's a Publishers Weekly report or article that has some updates on Spotify's stats that I opened with. And I think ultimately why I'm emphasizing audiobooks is that more formats for your book means more audiences. Also, Spotify in particular is hitting a younger demographic with their audiobook listeners. So the 18 to 34 crowd is consuming more and more audio. It makes sense. They are a big chunk of the podcast listeners. It makes sense that that would translate to audio. Also, with Spotify, you don't have to listen to a book from start to finish. And I've talked about this before, especially as it comes to naming your chapter titles so they create curiosity, hook somebody in. It's more important than ever because I think that starting your chapter is really engaging in an engaging way. Because if somebody just decides, I'm going to listen to chapter 3 and you're boring, they're not going to listen to any more of your book when it's on Spotify because they don't have to purchase the whole book. They can browse and listen to a chapter at a time if they like. And it all just goes towards their, I believe it's 15 hours of listening time. Or they can purchase the audiobook a la carte, which they're only going to do if they really love the book. And you have to do that by creating engaging content that hooks them in, whether they're listening to chapter 1 or chapter 5 as their first chapter. But I think it's really important to be thinking audio. I've been talking about this for quite some time as far as entrepreneurs, parents, especially busy moms, and anybody in kind of the real estate investing, realtor space. Like to me, those 3 categories were a must-have audiobook category for a while. But now I would say if you are targeting college age or kind of that early stage adult reader, think about the fact that they are more likely to be a listener, and you absolutely should be creating a multiple format. And I think it's also interesting to note, and I don't know if it was in that article or one of the links that you can kind of go down the rabbit hole on with regards to audiobooks, but they were talking about how a lot of authors are also seeing the backlist of their audiobooks. So if you have for example, my books, I have Self-Publish and Succeed and Self-Promote and Succeed. Those are the 2 main ones I talk about now. Prior to that, I wrote The New Brand You. And prior to that, I wrote More Than Cash Flow. And the backlist of those audiobooks is that I still sell some of those books. And I think that some of that those would be considered backlist. And I recently released a virtual voice version of the More Than Cash Flow on Amazon. I think I have the video. I think I put that video link in there for you, Angela, to put there in the comments, and then I'll put it in the description below after the stream is over. And that has sold. It hasn't sold like in great quantities, but I'm also not promoting that book. But it's interesting to note that as an author, you can kind of create all these little buckets, and some buckets will just get a couple drips over here, and a couple buckets over here might just get a drip, and then another one might just get underneath a big stream. And you don't always know what that's going to be, but the tools are there to create a lot of these buckets to collect. And these streams, by the way, that's cash. So if you like cash, say hi in the comments. But that's one of the things that I think, some of these tools are allowing us to have a bucket catching a little bit of, cash dripping from the sky over there where I wasn't getting it before for that version of the book. Now, the other thing that I want to touch on, and I'll probably do a separate, proper, well-edited explanatory, there we go, that's the word, video on this, but is the decisions around audiobooks, because this has changed dramatically. I also, stick with me, after I explain kind of the decision tree, I'm going to tell you what I am doing for Self-Publish and Succeed, the 2nd edition for audiobook, because I'm not taking a traditional path. If you've been watching for a while, you already know that I often just give my books away. You can buy them anywhere, but I give the audio version of Self-Promote and Succeed and Self-Publish and Succeed away for free. You can go to selfpromoteandsucceed.com right now /audio, and you can download that book on audio for free. Self-Publish and Succeed, original edition, you can get at booklaunchers.com/free audio. And Angela will put those links in the comments for you, and I'll have them for you below after. But I give those away. And I won't go through all the whys behind that right now. I've talked about it a lot before. But the decision tree around what to do when it comes to audiobooks now, it's getting, the more options there are, the more complicated it becomes. It's great because I think everyone has the ability, capacity, capability, whatever it is, to do audiobooks. However, everything has a trade-off, okay? Let's just think about this here. Where do I want to go? Let's talk about decision tree. So, some of the decisions you have to think about. Do you narrate it yourself? Do you hire a professional narrator? Do you use some sort of digital narration option? And so my personal opinion, human, and not any human, you, when it comes to nonfiction, are going to be the ultimate, the best choice. So if you have the budget and you have the time and your book is anything to do with something you're building a brand around, especially if you're a podcaster or a speaker, I strongly recommend that you produce a narrated audiobook that you have personally narrated. Now, it does take quite a bit of time, and it does take a decent investment to get it edited and produced at a quality that Audible will accept. But that, to me, is still the ultimate. The secondary is, to me, a cloned voice version of your book. And the other one after that would be ultimately, any version you can put out there, but narrated by a professional narrator, professionally edited. So decision tree. Number one, let's talk budget, because the DIY narration, which is you doing it or going into a studio, still the best, but editing and mastering, that is not going to be something you want to do by yourself unless you have expertise. We've had clients that have had their podcast editors do this, and it gets kicked back over and over, ends up with lengthy delays on Audible in particular, because they're very, they're picky about what they accept. And so I do recommend you work with an audiobook producer on this. For book launchers, you can purchase this package from us. It's depending on the word count of your book, this is somewhere around $3,500, give or take, depending on the size of your book. That does include voice coaching, your audiobook cover, set up for distribution, and a little bit more. But still, that's a sizable investment for just the single format of audiobook for your book, plus studio costs if you want to go in a studio. Again, still, to me, this is the ultimate, and you can distribute it everywhere. So it has no limitations. Everywhere will accept it. It's just that it takes the most amount of time and the highest cost. Well, not necessarily the highest cost. A professional narrator will be usually a little bit more expensive than this. You're investing in the fact that this is not you having to do it. Someone else has to do it, and they're professional. And a lot of times they'll just charge you per finished hour. So you'd be looking at somewhere around $200 to $400 more if they have a name with their narration. So that would also, that gives you the human narration, and it can be distributed everywhere. The next choice is cloning your voice, and I use 11 Labs to clone my voice. There's videos on it on the channel. There'll be a new video coming out in November on it. But this is much less time, much less cost, but I still recommend you work with somebody to edit it, to get it to the best possible quality. But I mean, this is a substantially lower cost investment to produce a good quality version of your book. And 11 Labs has come miles from when I did that last video. I'm really excited for you guys to see how good it is now. And again, I'll have a video for you probably late November. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you've subscribed and turned the notifications on so that you catch this and some of the other cool content we have coming out real soon. The other choice is AI digital voice. Fast and affordable. It's free to do with digital or virtual voice, Amazon's virtual voice, and improving quickly. And also you could do it with 11 Labs, and there's lots of other players out there that will allow you to choose one of the voices and produce it. There are limitations on what you can do with the files, depending on how you create them. If you create them through 11 Labs, you can distribute them wherever you want. But if you use Amazon's virtual voice or some of the other programs out there, you may only be able to distribute it through those platforms. So Amazon's virtual voice only allows you to distribute this on the Amazon platform. So it'll go to Audible, but it'll be clearly marked, which is the right way to do it, but you can't download them and use them elsewhere. Okay, so if budget is tight and your goal is speed, digital or virtual voice makes sense. But if brand and storytelling are your top priorities, invest in human narration. Okay, now some of how you're going to create it depends on where you want to distribute it, which was that I was trying to kind of go through there, but I want to break it up by channel as well, just so you're super clear. So Audible will only take a human narrated content or virtual voice. And virtual voice is the Amazon platform. It is easy to do. And I did do a video on it when I created More Than Cash Flow into an audiobook. So you'll see that. I think Angela already put it in there. Spotify, Google Play, other platforms, they're embracing AI narration. Again, my recommended approach is to use 11 Labs to clone your voice, but you can choose one of their voices, and they have some great voices to choose from. I do recommend you still send it to an audiobook editor for a final polish. Again, cheaper, faster. Or again, if you want, you can go direct to consumer like I do using BookFunnel. I distribute my audiobooks and you could sell them versus give them away for free. Again, that was my link, self-promote-and-succeed.com/audio. That is my audiobook. I give it away for free. I also have it on YouTube, which one of these days I should just turn it into a playlist and make it public. But there was some funky things that were done by the editor. I used my video editor for it on the first 3 or 4 videos, and they put a lot of sound effects in it, which I find annoying. So I didn't make it fully public, but I probably will one of these days. Regardless, if you want to hit everywhere, human narration, assuming you have the budget to handle it and produce it at the quality necessary. But if you're up for experimenting, or you want to produce it quickly, or you want to do it for a lower cost, AI narrated versions can really, really work. All right. Whew, that was a lot. So I'm curious, what's your thoughts on this? And then I'm going to tell you what I'm doing for Self-Publish and Succeed's 2nd edition, which is a little bit of none of the above, actually. There's one of the things we're doing, but it's a little bit of none of the above. All right. So I can see Angela was busy with all the links. She was just dropping links like crazy. So that's good. Okay, let's see. Oh, and then they're giving Angela health tips. And then let's see, I'm just going, hello from San Diego. So good to see you. I registered for the summit, but I will be traveling. Not sure about internet availability. Once you are registered for the summit, so going through selfpublishandsucceed.com, the replays will be available for you, or should I say for you, inside of the school platform. So our free community, which is now the author lab, the nonfiction author lab inside of school, the replays will be available. They won't be available to everyone in the community. They will just be available to those of you who are registered for the summit, but that's where you'll get your replays. So make sure you're inside of that community, and then they will be available to you there. We're going to try and get them up each day. So as the day wraps up, we're going to try and post them to make sure that you can catch up that night, in preparation for the next day, if you're only able to attend certain days and certain times. So we'll do our best to do that. Okay, it looks like just mostly links in there. So let's keep on. Actually, let's do a prize. I think that would be great. So let me do this. And Angela, I didn't check to collect the names, so I don't know if Val updated that sheet, but if you have that link, can you check to see if she updated it? And then we can throw them into the random name picker as well. Okay, so here we go. Our giveaway tool is up, and everybody who has said hello, you are entered to win. And I think our first prize will actually be a ticket to the summit, which includes the book, and it includes the replays to the summit. And if you're already registered for the summit, then we'll just give you one of our other prizes already. So, but I think we'll do that. Let's do a summit. Let's do a summit ticket right now. There's 10 of you entered to win. So let's see. I know several of you that are here already have your summit tickets. You could also gift it to somebody here if you would like, but we can also do another prize. All right, T.A. Thompson, 5602. Congratulations. Do you have a ticket to our Self-Publish and Succeed Summit coming up in November? If you do not, then you now do. So you can email Angela at team@booklaunchers.com. And you need to let her know your mailing address because she's going to send you on November 13th when the book launches. She's going to send you that book, as well as she is going to get you access to the summit. Can't wait to see you there. Or like I said, if you can't make it, you can catch the replays. All right, moving on. Let's go to Amazon's A10 algorithm. And I have put out several videos where we've touched on it. But one of the things I want to really emphasize is that, and we're seeing this too, we've already talked about the fact that launches are they look a little lackluster in the beginning. But then we're seeing them really pick up afterwards, especially for our authors that are doing a lot to market their book. Actually, I have to give a shout out to Colleen. I don't think Colleen and Brian are on today. I haven't seen their name, but she has done a great job. This came out a couple weeks ago, and she's been working hard, and she already has 71 reviews, which, as all of you know, that is a lot of reviews in a very short period of time. So they are working. And so we're seeing things like people like Colleen who are doing things consistently leading up to launch, but then continue to do things consistently after launch, and they're getting reviews. All the other marketing starts to perform better. But in particular, Amazon ads do perform better when somebody is generating a lot more traffic, not just from Amazon. And it's just not about metadata and a 99-cent ebook sale to launch your book and boom. That the days of that, like 99-cent ebook sale, choosing the right categories and stuffing those keywords in there and boom, you're a bestseller and Amazon loves you. Those days are gone. That doesn't mean those tactics don't have a place in your overall Amazon strategy, but Amazon is consistently rewarding external traffic now. And you want to make sure your Amazon page really has human appeal, right? We are selling to humans, and the algorithm is looking for contextual clues so it knows which humans to show your book to. So maintaining steady momentum, and we've talked about this before, but consistent conversions, not just spikes and then nothing, are really more important than they ever were. So think about the external traffic sources that might be able to help you start to get more activity to your Amazon page, because it's rewarding the relevance. It's ultimately rewarding human authenticity and just consistent engagement and conversion. So, Amazon ads are really only going to benefit you if you are converting and driving traffic to Amazon from other places. And again, it's kind of funny because the human stuff that you're going to do is what is appealing to the artificial intelligence algorithm that is being used to recommend your book and have it get discovered. So I think it's a really, really interesting approach. And so the strategies that we have always talked about, the strategies that are in Self-Promote and Succeed, if you're doing those things, those are the very things that Amazon is going to reward you for by helping you be shown in more searches, helping your book appear as something alongside other books a lot more. And as they get better and better with their discoverability, you'll be able to niche authors who've done a good job of explaining exactly who the book is for and why they would want it. They're going to show up in more and more searches, where it really used to be about the bestsellers and the ones with the best keywords. Those were the ones that were winning. So it's kind of exciting, but again, it does mean doing a little bit more than you maybe wanted to reach the algorithm to start showing up. All right, and that leads me to a little bit on AI and more. And I've talked about this before as well, but the question that I'm always asking is, how can AI help me do this? And if I'm not sure, I just ask it, and that often gives me an answer like, okay, my objective is this. I need to get to it with this. This is what I have to work with. How can AI tools help me get there? Ultimately, when it comes to book marketing, we built and are rebuilding what I think is the ultimate nonfiction book marketing tool, which is Author Launch Kit. And for those of you, and I know quite a few of you already have Author Launch Kit, we are in the middle of a massive update. If you're coming, I know Kevin, I think I saw Kevin's here. Come see us on Monday at Author Nation. At Author Nation next week on Monday's a vendor day. And so we have a table. Shane on my team is going to be here, and Shane can show you what we have behind the scenes. We're 2 to 4 weeks away from making it live. And we have rebuilt Author Launch Kit. And I already think Author Launch Kit is pretty solid, right? It helps you create content for your marketing. It helps you find podcasts and know what to pitch to those podcasts. It helps you find media and what to pitch to them, influencers, social media content calendar, step-by-step approach for your book marketing. It helps with all of that. But we found that the user experience wasn't quite what we wanted, and the AI tools have just gotten better and better. And so we've been able to rebuild a lot of it. And so I'm super, super excited. And so that's one thing, is there might be a tool out there like Author Launch Kit that does all the things that you want it to do versus a ChatGPT where you would have to prompt the heck out of it to produce what some of these specialized and focused tools can do. And I think that it's really about efficiency and finding the tools that help you get where you want to go faster, cheaper, and easier. Now, ultimately, my one caveat on this is find your voice first. And so one example of that, and I actually take it away from books, there's a speaking coach that I was speaking to last week. She's going to be doing some work with some EO speakers, so entrepreneur organization. And she was telling me how this last round of talks that these speakers that she coached for this event, she said it was really interesting because their first call, they would have this spark of an idea. And then in the second call, they would, do a really, really rough rehearsal. And she said that a lot of that raw emotion that made the speech have so much potential and create such connection was gone when they did the next call. And she said in 3 out of 3 of the cases where she was like, what happened? Like this speech lost that spark, lost that thing that made it great. She asked them, well, what have you done to rehearse? And she said her first thought was that they just over practiced. And every single one of them said, well, I ran my speech through ChatGPT and it gave me recommendations. And she said what happened in all 3 of these cases was it lost the thing that made you connect to what they were saying. And we see that when people use these tools to edit. So it flattens it out. It reads well, right? So it seems like it's polished, and yet it's missing that humanity, that connection point. So just be mindful of that, not just about using it to write. In some cases, I would almost rather you use it to spit out some garbage to start with. Maybe not garbage, but spit out words to start with, and then you edit the heck out of them and put the humanity in versus running it through it and it's stripping out some of that humanity that makes it really, connection juicy, right? Because ultimately, I think what I do like is using it for repurposing content because it's really good at mimicking style. So once you establish your voice, your message, your hook, what makes you great, you can say, okay, take this chapter and give me, 5 social media posts, 2 videos, you can use it from there. But to have it generate it in the beginning or edit what you've got, I'm finding that it's flattening it out and takes that thing that makes people lean in and go, tell me more, or makes them tear up or connect or feel the heart. So what you really want to focus on is creating that connection, whether it's through your humor, your tone, your opinions, and then, you can use AI from there to get it out into the world and to efficiently reach people. You can use AI to find the next person you need on your journey of like, okay, I've done this part. Now what do I do? AI can help you with that. Okay. So the other piece I want to note around AI is something that we've been talking a lot more about at book launchers. And it's something that I'm not hearing talked about very much in the in the author world yet, but we're finding and we're seeing more and more evidence that the traditional funnel is dying. And so what do I mean by that? Well, in the traditional direct response marketing world, which was fundamental to a lot of book launches. You would run an ad, you would either get an email address or get clicks, you build your list, you convert the list to buyers. It was measurable, it was controllable, it was repeatable. That's not working very well anymore. And what we're finding is that it's because AI has rewritten the rules of discoverability. They're smarter than copy hooks, and platforms like Facebook and Amazon, even YouTube, they're not rewarding clever copy. They reward engagement patterns, right? We've already talked about that. You have to send traffic, it has to engage with you, it has to convert. And the algorithm is deciding who sees it based on those behavioral signals, not your headline, not your call to action, not the keywords, right? And ultimately, everybody has good copy now because of AI. And in fact, if you don't know what your copy should be, most of these tools say, put a landing page URL in here and we'll write the ad copy for you. So the bar has gone up as to what is going to perform. And in fact, the tools are trying to help you by creating their own tools so that you can generate that copy. So what does this mean? Well, first of all, if you were doing Facebook ad funnels, where it was download this free chapter, get my email sequence, buy my book, review my book, those things are collapsing because the machine learning models are optimizing for retention, not for clicks. And like I said, everybody's got access to that good copy. So it's not about the best headline anymore. It's about hooks. It's about storytelling. It's about that human connection. Because decent is, everybody can kind of do that same standard of marketing. And so it's going to come down to your personality, your positioning. That's really how you're going to differentiate. And I think that, the old model of trying to convince people to buy is gone, which is good, but it means everything is about being discovered, right? Getting recommended by whatever search engine / LLM that somebody is using. And you're already seeing this with Spotify and Amazon, their discovery engines, right? Even ChatGPT and Grok and Perplexity, they're discovery engines, and they're surfacing what people are engaging with, not what they're told to buy, not what has the best keywords. So ultimately, your job is now to create the signals that the algorithm recognizes so that you're getting recommended. Your storytelling needs to replace your sales funnel. And I think that's really, really important for anybody who's sitting there going, well, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to sell books. The ability for somebody to just sell books without doing other marketing has already been going down, but it is going down even more now because people are buying from voices they trust, and the algorithms now are rewarding those voices as well. So again, it's kind of exciting, but it can also be daunting as you venture into the book world and market a book. But if your book and you deliver, if your book is performing, people are consistently buying, and you have content out there that delivers genuine value, you are going to see some amplification that you wouldn't have seen before. And that's where I get really, really excited. And building community is important. So, as I said, your storytelling replaces your sales funnel. Your community becomes your sales force, and you build connection to have that continuous relevance in the marketplace. So, all right, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I think we've hit it all. So let me know if you have questions, and we'll do one more prize while I wait for questions. I don't see anything starred. Angela, is there anything starred for questions? No questions. All right, you guys are just blown away, right? Kevin said, I did ask ChatGPT about how to market better in the world of AI, and it told me to get my voice, my storytelling everywhere I can, podcast, newsletter, blog, and do it often. Yep, 100%. So Chatty knows what it takes to show up in Chatty. Okay, so if anybody has questions, you can go ahead and type them in, and I'm going to do our final prize of the day. Oh, Angela, did Val update the comments? Okay, do you have the random name picker? Did you put them in the random name picker?
I'll pop on so people can hear my name. I didn't know what weeks to pull from, but I have it.
Okay, so it's from the last 2 weeks. And if you want to drop it in random name picker, and then you can share your random name picker, but you don't have to talk.
That sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, so let me go in, and yes, Jordan says, his brain has exploded. All right, so let me do one more prize, and let's see here. All right, so this one will be our standard prize. You can get a copy of or you can get a hashtag No Boring Books mug, or a Oh So Soft journal, or a copy of Self Promote and Succeed, or Self Publish and Succeed. All right. Oops, I stopped sharing instead of hit. Oops, I hit stop sharing instead of choose the winner. Let me try that again. All right, here we go. Okay, let me try again. Ah, Kevin. What have you not won lately, Kevin, my friend? Let us know. Or if you would like to gift it to somebody else, you are welcome to choose your gifter, or we can draw again, whatever you want, no pressure. Yes, I had a feeling you were going to say that. Please choose again. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin has won everything there is to win so far, you guys, and then some. But I would have happily given you another prize, because I do appreciate you and all the comments and support that you give everyone in our book launcher community. All right, let's go again. And here we go. One more time. In my head, I'm hearing the Jeopardy music today. But I'm not very good with tune. And what do you know? She sneaks in, she says hello, and she makes it into the prize. I love it. All right, so welcome back. I haven't seen you around here for a while, and you win. So you can choose from the mug, the Oh So Soft journal, or a copy of Self Promote and Succeed and Self Publish and Succeed, and email Angela at team@booklaunchers.com and let her know what you need to refresh yourself on these days. And congratulations, and thanks for stopping by. All right. And now Angela has our random name picker for everybody who has commented on Tuesday and Friday when videos come out. So every Tuesday we've been doing live streams. Every Friday we have a new video. And the last 2 weeks have been entered in here. And go ahead. Got a comment. These are the people who commented on the day a video was released. And it looks like, oh, Joy. Yay, Joy has won. Congratulations, Joy. I'm very excited. I think we just got an email from Joy about something today. I saw something come through. Anyways, Joy, you can choose from the usual journal, mug, or book, and email Angela at team@booklaunchers.com and let her know where to send it. All right, thank you. And I did not see any questions come in. So you guys going to let me off the hook easy today? I'm not complaining. I got prep work to do for the summit, because next week I am at Author Nation all week. So I will not be prepping very much for the summit while I'm at Author Nation. And it looks like and there, Dale just pops in too. Wow, amazing. Dale, great to have you here. We are just wrapping up, but I am looking forward to seeing you next week. I can't wait. And 1, 2, 3, is that Antoine? I think that's Antoine. We're seeing Antoine and Kevin. I know both of you are going to be at Author Nation. I can't wait to see you both there. And I think that's it. So Angela, go get some rest. And thank you everybody for being here. And for those of you that I will see in Vegas next week, looking forward to it.